Everybody, what is going on? The catch. Fam, hope everyone out there is doing phenomenal tonight. Hope you guys have all had a great Memorial Day weekend and a great Memorial Day. Hope you guys all had a safe celebration, and I hope you guys are ready for a 2024 fantasy football draft because that is exactly what we are hopping into tonight. This will be my first best ball mania entry on Underdog for the upcoming fantasy season. So I am stoked for this one. Um, we've entered a couple small tournaments throughout the offseason, but with Best Ball Mania just opening up shortly after the NFL draft, I have not had the opportunity to hop into one yet. So super excited for tonight's stream. And from what I have seen and heard, Best Ball Mania this year is filling up pretty quickly. So if you guys are going to start making entries, you are going to want to do so quickly. So I'm going to give this a couple minutes, maybe till like 11:20 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'm going to go ahead and hop into the lobby. That way, if there are any of you guys out there who do want to join with me tonight, you guys can hopefully get into the lobby with me. So, so far throughout the week, we've been running our PPR mock drafts on just throughout the weekend. So whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday and Sunday, we are running the PPR mock drafts early and often already for you guys. So make sure you guys have joined the Discord. That link is down below. Completely free to join, and that'll get you guys the best updates on when we are mock drafting because I know a lot of you guys out there who either cannot participate in Underdog or just don't play on Underdog and still want to get some practice in for the upcoming season. This early, we are already doing so. So let me finish setting up here, and then we'll get going in just a couple minutes. I don't know any Underdog ADP for the most part right now, so like I'm just super excited to hop into a draft and kind of navigate an Underdog draft for the night. All right, let me get this set up. Sent out warning on Discord, so hopefully anyone on the Discord who wants to draft with me will have the opportunity to do so. All right. Once again, it is the boring time of the fantasy offseason where we don't have anything except for like speculation to talk about. So no updates, no news, especially on a holiday weekend. But if you're a Celtics fan, congrats. Celtics are going to the NBA Finals. So it's really the only exciting sports news from the day. But let's see who's in the chat. Albert, good to see you. Hope you are doing well, man. What's going on with you? Let me know how you are feeling as we are just a couple of days away from June. I know you'll be drafting a lot of fantasy teams this season. Good to see you, bro. Aaron Rebor's in the house. Good to have you here as well. Likewise, let me know how you are feeling a couple days out from June, getting closer to the fantasy season. I know you also will be drafting a lot of fantasy teams this year. And we've got Chase in the house. What's going on, man? I have already seen plenty of you this offseason in the Dynasty Leagues, but happy to have you here as well. I'm doing good. Let me know outside of Dynasty how you are feeling as we approach the redraft and or best ball season. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and enter the lobby. And I don't know, I might have time to do more than one of these tonight, but I'm not sure. I'm not network error. That was weird. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. That was weird. All right, so 4 spots open. If you guys literally just go to the lobby and then go into Best Ball Mania, you should get matched with me, but these are also filling relatively quickly, so we shall see. It's a holiday weekend, but I still think these are going to go, fill pretty quickly. All right, so 3 more spots open for anyone out there who wants to try and hop in. Chase, I'm still in the dynasty mindset. I know all the catch fam uh, rookie slow drafts have completed as of this past weekend. So at some point, I need to do like a stream where I go over some of the dynasty leagues. But I've been talking with Stevie from Dynasty Life. Maybe I'll do a stream with him where he can help do that because we have 4 leagues, 2 super flex leagues and 2 single quarterback leagues as well. So a lot of teams that go over. I know as soon as we start going over 1 or 2, a lot of you guys are going to want team reviews. A lot of you guys have multiple teams within the community as well. So, but the rookie slow drafts have been awesome this year. Plenty of trading as always. And for the most part, I kind of divided my teams in terms of strategy. Like I had 2 teams where I just went like completely all in, didn't really care about draft picks, whatever. Then I have one team that I like specifically drafted very young, but is also kind of a contender because I hit on a lot of guys, but also didn't trade any draft picks. Then I have a team that's kind of in between, like had draft capital, drafted young, kind of in the middle, like also competing. So, um, and I the best draft spot I got was the 1.6, and that team actually had ended up kind of contending as well. So I had some interesting drafts, and it's interesting going into year 2 with some of these teams, and no dynasty fantasy championships for myself yet. But I hear you, man. It's hard to get out of the dynasty mindset. So, all right, we are entering draft numero uno. We'll see if I can make it through 2 or not tonight. And I've got the 1.10. Smokey, always good to have you in here, my guy. How are you feeling? Seeing you in the dynasty leagues as well, but how are you feeling as we are in best ball season and just a couple days away from redraft season really starting to heat up as well? And how are you feeling about your Steelers this year, man? Chase says I'm going to win it all over cats, calling it now. Yeah, you just never know, in those dynasty formats, especially because I believe you're in a single quarterback in a super flex league. It's hard for me to keep up. But I could see your team's looking pretty stacked. You decided to go kind of all in last minute there. Happy I was able to give you Musgrave. And Musgrave's my guy, so I'm happy as well. So, yeah, we talked about that on Friday night stream, and obviously had some content go out this week as well in regards to that. But yeah, Luke Musgrave, kind of like, if I just blank at the tight end position, or if I am just kind of going late round tight end, like Luke Musgrave is the player that I currently like in terms of late round tight ends. So that's probably not going to change, barring any injury. And I do just like the Packers offense moving into this season as well. So thank you, Chase. I was happy as well. Okay, on the clock here. Give me Puka. So let's take a look here. Things haven't really changed in terms of best ball format or best ball mania's format, right? So, it's still half PPR, so a little bit more value to the running back position, some would argue, but also you have to have that depth at wide receiver because you're playing 3 wide receivers on a weekly basis. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and a flex. So obviously the flex spot can be a wide receiver as well. 10 bench spots and 1 tight end. So for me, generally in the first round or so, I am targeting 1 to 2 wide receivers unless there's just a running back that I feel like I cannot pass up. And then I'm also typically going to be specifically targeting wide receivers here whose quarterbacks we can stack, but at a low value. Like Matthew Stafford's obviously going to go a little bit later. Then let's say Jalen Hurts, he gets drafted at the 1.11, be paired with AJ Brown. So I like the Puka Nakua pick there for sure. All right, top available players. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Ayuk, Olave, Devontae Adams. As we move into the second, 2 running backs off the board, Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I will go with Drake London here. Nothing against MH Jr., but once again, I like the idea of potentially getting captainy like that Kirk Cousins tad bit later. So, if we kind of look at things here, oops. So in terms of ADP, let's see. Yeah. So I mean, Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford going after guys like Tua, Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, even Jared Goff. So, average ADP on Kirk Cousins is at 137.9 and Matthew Stafford at 147.5. So I like the idea of potentially being able to get the starting quarterback for the Rams and the Falcons late. So I like the start to today's draft. Smokey says Justin Fields will take over by week 7/8. I hope. Man, what we really need to see is like some sort of crazy package where Fields and Russell Wilson are both on the field at the same time. That's what I want. Chase, I bet I have to turn the orphan superflex team around. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yikes. Cash Fam Dynasty Leagues have been a blast. And this offseason's been awesome as well. Glad, everyone who's in multiple leagues, I think, is having fun. Now, imagine if you're in all four, like me. That's a lot of fun. All right, C Slay, what's going on, my guy? Says, bet high on elite tight end / quarterback, but seeing Burrow / Herbert in the hundreds ADP is a killer deal. Yeah, so generally speaking, for me, year to year, because there's a lot of buzz last year. Like, you have to draft a quarterback earlier. Like, the value of quarterbacks in 2022 was like so high that most teams that were like elevated to the championship or won championships, got to semifinals, whatever, had like the top 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks, right? And then the top 1 or 2 quarterbacks from that season like scored so many points. It was like just a huge disparity, right? And so going into last year, like that was a big thing. Like when we were starting mock drafts and underdog drafts, like this time last year, I mean, you had Mahomes and or Jalen Hurts at times going in the first round, Josh Allen going in the first round. And as the offseason progressed, they started to go bleed into the second round. And really by August, end of the second, beginning of the third, and a lot of leagues still mid third, right? But for me, just traditionally, I'm a late round quarterback guy, and I want to, especially in leagues like where you're flexing multiple players. So best ball drafts, right? We're flexing 3 players, right? And all the leagues that I run and most of the leagues that I play in, actually, I think all the leagues that I play in at this point, we're flexing 2 players. So for me, I agree, right? I'd rather have kind of like a quarterback that I still believe in, that still has playmakers around him. Herbert maybe can argue a bit here, but and I'm not personally out on Herbert, just to clarify. But yeah, it's hard for me to go kind of with an elite quarterback or tight end, because tight end is the same way for me. Like I am just always a late round tight end drafter. I just don't spend high capital on tight ends. Now, with that being said, when it comes to underdog drafts, right? Like I will mix things up a bit. Like I want to have different entries where I'm alleviating against my typical strategies, because you just don't want to have, like, for example, I'd already done a ton of underdog drafts last offseason. I realized this. And I can even think of an example from the season before, but last season, like my most drafted running back and underdog was Kenneth Gainwell, because he was just my late round guy. Like I was just always selecting Kenneth Gainwell because he was always there at the end of drafts, and I thought he was a really good handcuff pickup, right? And that did nothing for any of my teams. And the year before, I want to say like I stacked, like I did a lot of late round stacking on top of like earlier round stacking, and I had a ton of Mac Jones and Hunter Henry drafted. So, when it comes to underdog best ball drafting specifically, I do think it's good to kind of switch up and kind of get away from your typical strategy, so to speak, as well. But yeah, I think this is a year, just based on early mock drafts that we've been doing with the community, which of course, like, your full PPR mock drafts are going to be different than best ball underdog drafts, because strategy is different at the end of the day, right? It's a different format. Underdogs have PPR, 3 wide receivers, and all that stuff, right? So They're going to be different, but what we are seeing is that for me, um, it's just another season where going late round quarterback is is a bargain. So, and for me, like, yeah, I just can't do it. I just can't draft a tight end early. I can't. Now, round 6, round 7, round 8, like that's not. It's still early-ish, but that's not. I'm just talking like the first like 3, 4 rounds. 5 rounds. I'm just not going to draft a tight end like ever. So, but yeah, we just went over kind of like quarterback ADP very quickly, and you got with who's available, which should be everyone. Yeah. So Hertz, Lamar, Patty, Stroud, Richardson. Oh, Josh Allen's gone. My bad. Yeah, Josh Allen gone at the 4.1. Um, so then Burrow on Underdog right now, Best Ball Mania, ADP is 76.9. Then Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love. Like I do like that range of quarterback a lot. Then you got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy, Tua, T-Law, Goff, Herbert, Cousins, Stafford, Rogers, Baker, Deshaun Watson, Geno. So, like, what I really would prefer is to be able to get a guy like maybe Burrow, but yeah, Burrow, Kyler, Dak, J Lo, like that kind of range, and then get a guy from the second range, whether it's Purdy, Tua, T-Law, Goff, Herbert, Cousins, Stafford, or even two of those guys. So then when we're looking at tight end, right? So far tonight, we have 3 tight ends gone: McBride, Kelsey, and Laporta, all gone in the third. So next up, we would have Kincaid, Andrews, Pitts, Kittle, Ingram, Fergie, and Joku Bowers, Goddard, Schultz, T Hawk, he's hurt, Komet, Fryermuth, Ben Sinnett, Luke Musgrave, Hunter Henry, Kate Otten, some other names as we go on. So for me, once again, kind of the same deal here. Like I prefer a guy like Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson, David Njoku. I like the value of Goddard right now. I really like Dalton Schultz, and then I like to get like a secondary guy from this next range: Cole Kmet, Fryermuth, Luke Musgrave, maybe Ben Sinnott. I do like Ben Sinnott, but Luke Musgrave is like the guy I'll be targeting a lot of. But I do like I even like the value on TJ Hawkinson. Like he's going to miss time more than likely to start the year, but we all know what T Hawk is capable of, right? All right, so I decided to go heavy wide receiver to start this draft. So Puka, London, Devonta, Christian Kirk. And so now we're going to attack the running back position, which this time of year, traditionally for me, it's just the time of year as you're starting to get in your best ball entries that you can hit a lot of really good value on running backs. Now, once again, it's my first best ball entry of the year, so I don't really know if it's still that way, but the last 2 years, that's how it's gone. So we'll see what happens. Smokey, thoughts on RB for the turn in 12-team redraft? Let's say Gibbs, Barkley. Would you rather do Gibbs, Marvin Harrison? Yeah. So test it out. We've only done so many mock drafts so far, but I do think going hero running back or whether you want to go double hero running back is fine. Like there's really 4 strategies that I really personally look at for the most part, and this could change as the offseason progresses, but hero running back or double hero running back, um, wide receiver heavy, like 4 wide receivers in a row, then like you're going to have to attack like the RB dead zone to a degree. And then what I call a bounce back strategy, where you're picking either running back or wide receiver in the first round, and then you're just switching off, RB wide receiver, RB wide receiver, RB wide receiver, unless there's just like someone falls to you that you absolutely can't pass up at either position, right? And then just allowing a quarterback and tight end to come to you at the right time in later rounds. And then you can make the decision: do you want to draft second quarterback, second tight end, if you don't have full confidence in said tight end 1 or quarterback 1? So, yeah, I think especially like you're saying in the turn, late round running backs in the first round look solid, and beginning the second round running backs look really solid as well. So I would be okay with that. I prefer it over Gibbs and Marvin Harrison. I was really hoping Rashad White would fall to us. He does not, but we shall survive. So I'll take Mixon. I'd be fine with Kenneth Walker. Honestly, I'm fine with Kamara, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and DeAndre Swift. I still think being undervalued, but I don't know if I want to draft Swift ahead of guys like Kenneth Walker or David Montgomery, who I still have a lot of faith in. So, like, I'm okay with building teams in best ball drafts that I'm going with this tier running back at because I do think there's always like one or two names in this tier running back that are going to hit, and then A or B, there's always one or two running backs in this range that as the offseason goes on, they start to move up. You know, like I don't think we're gonna get Rashad White and James Cook in the 5th round in August. I don't. I think Isaiah Pacheco is another guy that can move up. Travis Etienne went in the 4th. So this is a time of year to really try and hit. I don't want to call this the dead zone at running back, but just to try and hit on running backs in mid rounds, in my opinion. You think wide receivers will be the way to go early on in drafts or a mix? Depends on how early we're talking. But I if we're playing full PPR for the most part, right? Like it's interesting because best ball is half PPR, you know. But most standard leagues out there, I guess I shouldn't say standard because that's form of scoring, but most leagues out there now, I'm going to draft Kenneth Walker here. Um, we're playing full PPR, so right in best ball, like we're starting 3 wide receivers. In most leagues we're playing full PPR. So for me, wide receiver is just the most important position in fantasy football, right? And I mean, if you're playing a half PPR league, that's a different story, right? So for me, I'm always drafting wide receivers early, but it's not to, you know, take away from the running back position at all, which is still massively important. Um, and I think you can argue in later rounds, you can find more, especially in full PPR, more value at wide receiver as we start to move into like wide receiver 2s, wide receiver 3s who can come into the 2 role, or is a wide receiver 2 going to get hurt on whatever team, and wide receiver 3 steps up. So, you know, I I just want to have, you know, 2 wide receivers starting that I believe in. And like I said, most leagues I'm playing in, a lot of leagues now, you're flexing 2 players. I want to flex 2 wide receivers in full PPR, unless like obviously you hit on the right guys at running back and you're starting them like in their balling, whatever. Like you're not going to bench them, but for me, I want security at wide receiver, and I want 4 starters at wide receiver as well. Stats say to have 5 wide receivers through 7 to 10 rounds. Yeah, like I said, load up at the position. Cameron, good to see you, bro. Passing on Hurts in the 4th with a Smith stack. Yeah, so just not the way I wanted to draft tonight. But I mean, you do make a fair point. And honestly, like, yeah, I could have gone AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Hurts. So, like I said, for me, I'm trying to really like focus on getting like Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins late in this draft. And then like somewhere along the lines in rounds like 11 and 12, we want to try and hit on a late stack as well. Like maybe one that like we're not really like even fully confident in, right? Or an offense that's just not as good, but sometimes those are the offenses that bloom. Like, I mean, imagine a Nico Collins, Tank Dell in later rounds last year with a late CJ Stroud selection, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I mean, that's like a dream scenario, right? And those are all late round guys. So it's a fair criticism, but we shall see how this team turns out. All right, I'm high on Love this year. Love the stack you can pretty much get on their whole team. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. There's a lot of pass catchers on this team and a lot of guys that you can specifically target, right? I'll pull it up in a second here after these next few draft picks. Let's see as we move into round 8, how many Packers are off of the board, because this is something that I want to keep a close eye on. Is Christian Watson still available? I'm going to assume Jaden Reed's gone. We'll see. We'll see in a minute. Okay, I'm going to draft a running back here. I'm hoping that DeAndre Swift comes to us because I love him as a RB3. And then we're going to be in a pretty good spot. And then we can kind of decide. All right, so we get Swift. If you hate DeAndre Swift, I get it. I'm a DeAndre Swift guy. Then we can kind of decide. Really, for me, I'm going to go with another wide receiver here because I think we can still hold off at quarterback. I could take a guy like Burrow, Kyler, Dak, J-Lo if I wanted to here. I'm not against that. We could go with a tight end here. There's a big drop off at running back about to happen, but I still think there's some names that are fine. Like if I have 3 running backs that I feel okay about at this point in the draft, I'm going to feel okay. So I think I'm going to go wide receiver here. I really like Deontay Johnson here. I'm okay with taking like a dart throw upside type of pick here with Christian Watson. I'm okay with Rashee Rice, actually, believe it or not, as like a wide receiver 5. Yeah, I'm okay with Rashee Rice here. Jameson Williams and Cortland Sutton are 2 guys in this range that if you guys have been mock drafting with me already this offseason, you guys know that I really like both of those guys, especially as a wide receiver 5. So Deontay Johnson's gone, but Christian Watson, Rashee Rice, Jameson Williams, Cortland Sutton. I like all these guys. There's in this kind of next tier, there are other names that I like too, but not more than the available players. So there goes J-Mo. And I'm just going to take overs here. And for me, like, I kind of want to take Cortland Sutton because I feel like we can get Bo Nix at like 0 cost. But at the same time, I just really don't think Rashee Rice is going to get a heavy suspension. I don't. I think it's going to be like 4 games, at worst 6 games with an appeal. And then it's like I just really don't think the NFL is going to take one of Patrick Mahomes' playmakers away from him. Like they're going to make this as light of a suspension as possible. So I like all those guys: Deontay Johnson, Jameson Williams, Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, if he's your wide receiver 5 or more, maybe wide receiver 4. Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton. Like I like all those guys for different reasons. So. All right, but yeah, let's quickly take a look here. How many Packers are gone as we are in mid eighth round. So Jaden Reed goes at the 5.11. So Jaden Reed's gone to 5.11. And then Christian Watson's gone to 8.4, and that is it. So yeah, I mean, that is just really good value. Jaden Reed, your wide receiver 1, is what people are assuming right now. Going in the 5th round, wide receiver 2 on this team, Christian Watson in the 8th. And the guy that I'm still drafting the most of, just based on value, is Romeo Doubs. Thoughts on Chase Brown? No pun intended. Yeah, the biggest crime committed in our dynasty leagues is that our subscriber Chase Brown didn't get to actually draft Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown is fine. Like, I do think we're obviously going to see like a multitude of running backs utilized for the Bengals. So, I'm always kind of shaky about committees. That might be like one thing, not always the best at getting exactly right. And obviously, Zach Moss, age 26, is not like, I mean, that's older in running back years, but not super old. Coming off a great season, right? But I still think Chase Brown is the change of pace guy. And like, so in a best ball format, yeah, like I'm all for going after Chase Brown because the value is really, really cheap. It just kind of depends, in redraft formats. Right now, based on the mock drafts that we've done here on the channel, it's like you're going to have to take 1 or 2 dart throws, especially this time of season. So if you like Chase Brown, I definitely think he's worth drafting for sure. But yeah, I think he'll be the change of pace guy. Our Chase likes him too. Taylor Gang, what's up, bro? Smash the 8-chain value everywhere. So I just want to remind you guys, last off season, who was my, outside of the, Devon 8-chain was my rookie RB. I think at a point, literally my rookie RB3. Like you guys remember, I had, after he went to the Dolphins, I had a deep obsession with Devon 8-chain. So I just want to remind you guys of that. Sometimes it feels good to be correct. Okay, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks available. Burrow, Prescott, J-Lo. Unfortunately, they don't correlate to any players that I have. So let's quickly look. The teams in front of me are really light at quarterback. We got one of them with Josh Allen, and there goes Burrow. So we've been talking a lot about Jordan Love tonight, so I'll draft him. I don't mind Dak there at all. Like, I think you could easily argue that Dak's a better pick, but what we'll try and do is we'll try and get Luke Musgrave as a late round selection, and then we'll at least have a stack with him. But also Romeo Dobbs is sitting right here. Ooh, that might be the move. Although there's going to be a big drop off at running back, but that's okay. That's okay. So I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs or a tight end here. I'm going to go Romeo Dobbs if he's available. I really like that, kind of getting like a small stack, then trying to get Musgrave later, and then still trying to get Stafford or Kirk Cousins to go with Puka or Drake London. So, yeah, I feel good right now. Let's go. But I do think you could argue tight end, really important here. We got Brock Bowers, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Schultz, T-Hawk, Komet, Freiermuth, Ben Sinnott, and Luke Musgrave. But I think one of those guys from that higher tier might fall out, and then we can get Luke Musgrave. So if Dobbs is here, and he is, let's take him. 8 touchdowns last year. Don't forget, this is a guy who Jordan Love specifically has a lot of good red zone chemistry with. 8-chain single game ceiling is pretty impressive, though. He's a great weekly winners play. Yeah, is weekly winners back out? Because I love weekly winners. I didn't do very good with it last year, admittedly, but I love that style of tournament. And I tried, like, I know weekly winners, like last year was the first year was a thing, but I really tried to strategize and really get into weekly winners. But I had like some decent entries, but nothing exciting. But I really like weekly winners. Then, so what's good, my guy? Got Luke McCaffrey in Dynasty rookie draft tonight at 4.2. Drafted Jaden Daniels at 1.2. Thoughts on Luke? So I think he's fine in the 4th round. It's like, the thing with Luke McCaffrey is he's a quarterback, converted to wide receiver, only got so many touches as wide receiver, but the athleticism is there, like the bloodline's there, obviously, right? So McCaffrey's fine, but he's being a little bit like overdrafted. Like he's going like in the 3rd round in a lot of rookie drafts, and I don't really like that ADP. And like, I'm a Washington fan, and I still don't like that ADP. So in the 4th round, even again in the 4th, I'm okay with it. I think he's a guy you can throw on the taxi squad and just see what happens. But you have to expect a little bit of disappointment potentially. But Jaden Daniels to 1.2, if it's super flex, yeah, I'm good with that. Obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. might be there. Maybe you feel good at wide receiver. The argument for MH Jr. over Jaden Daniels, I think, is completely fine. And I really do like Jaden Daniels, though. So I would feel okay about it. Pray, thank you so much for the $2 dono. What is up, Pray? It doesn't show right, but you guys can see in the chat. Pray sent a sticker. So, Pray, what are you up to, bro? Good to see you, man. Man, I was really hoping Dalton Schultz would fall out here. The other guy I really like, who I'm not going to get, is I like Austin Eckler as like a RB4. I'm feeling pretty good at wide receiver. Puka, London, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Rasheed Rice, Romeo Dobbs, Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift at running back, and we got J-Lo quarterback. So not a Broncos fan, but from Oregon / Ducks fan. I'm high on Nix and Franklin. I do like Franklin. Like in redraft, he's one of the guys that as in terms of rookie wide receivers, that I'm willing to take a shot on. And yeah, I feel pretty good about Franklin, but I'm still in on Cortland Sutton as the Broncos wide receiver that I want to target. But I mean, Franklin's going late in drafts. So, okay. So I might have to go back to back tight ends, which is going to make me feel gross. Like, just really aggressively gross. I might take a running back here, but gosh, maybe Jerome Ford. And I expected this drop off. And be prepared for this. Not really, but mentally did. Cameron says also not going to happen this year. The suspension. Yeah, I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen this year. So it's one of those things. I really just think right now, while you can draft Rasheed Rice at the price you can, whether the suspension does or does not happen this year, I just think he's a good value and not a guy that I'm scared to draft. All right, so there goes Stafford. So the question is, what do we do? Okay. I'm going to take Kirk Cousins to make sure nobody else can steal my Kirk Cousins Drake London stack, as someone already stole my Stafford and Puka stack. And then I'm just going to take whoever the best tight end available is. And I'm going to hope. So Musgrave's ADP is 155. We have pick 154. That feels risky, but I think Musgrave might come back to us. And because if we go running back, it's Zeke, Charbonnet, Rico, Marshawn Lloyd, Kendrick Miller. Like, we're already taking dart throws at running back anyway. And if I can just land like Antonio Gibson and Chuba Hubbard, like, I'd feel okay. Oh yeah, running back. I mean, gosh, this drop off is gross. But we have 3 guys I like with 3 separate bye weeks. And I feel okay. Believe it or not. All right, there goes Cole Kmet. See, that's the thing. I was hoping, and the team in front of me taking Justin Herbert makes me feel a little bit better because Kmet's really the guy I want here. But we're gonna have to settle for Freiermuth, unless maybe I just straight up pick up Luke Musgrave. I think I'm just gonna draft Luke Musgrave. Because if I miss on Luke Musgrave, I'm going to be so upset that I might break my computer. Just kidding. I don't know. Most of the teams in front of me are pretty set at tight end, but not really. All right, I want to draft Freiermuth after all of that and see if Musgrave falls out. That'll be the excitement. Pray Luke ends up like CMC will be set for years, stash him in Dynasty as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the appeal here is he ends up like his older brother, but you just never know. You never know. Made for TV. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing fantastic. What is going on, my dude? How are you feeling as we're just a couple of days away from June? Chase, I also take all the Puka credit since I knew about him in college. Basically scouted him as my guy in Dynasty Leagues. You were all over him last year. Yeah. And I know one of the leagues that we're in together, I drafted him. So I remember you calling me out on that when it happened. But, I mean, I liked Puka last year, but I only ended up drafting him in one startup. I didn't like him enough to take credit or anything. I like Jahan Dotson in the 12th round, and Brandon Cooks, and Josh Allen. High on Wicks for Green Bay. Yeah, a lot of people are. And I like Datavion Wicks as well. I like the whole Packers offense. Weekly winners is up now. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to do a weekly winners night. Weekly winners was new last year, so there's was like no historical data out. But I watched a fantasy dog pound stream breaking down some data. And apparently, double anchor running back was the move, 2 through 5. So yeah, I like last year scouted out like I mean not this is not like crazy or anything, but just sat down and like went through the whole NFL schedule and was just like these are the weeks that I think like big high scoring games can happen, right? And like these are the weeks with the most competitive looking matchups overall and they give you the best opportunity. And then like one thing that did work well for people too last year were teams that just like you just drafted like the whole Dolphins offense. Like the week the Dolphins played the Broncos, like and put up like 1,000 points or whatever. Like you did not win in weekly winners that week. Like even like the top 30, 40, 50, if you did not have Dolphins players on your roster. And so if that's another thing too, is like you have to hit like the first time the Eagles and Commanders played last year, like super high scoring game. Like everyone scored in that game. Like everyone had a good fantasy day in that game. Like hitting on the right games is so huge as well. But I'll have to look into that as well. I like Kraft for Green Bay and he goes later. I feel like he outshined Musgrave. No, we won't take the Musgrave slander. Don't want any Musgrave this year. He's in the tight end committee. He's gonna win. He oh no. Dang it. All right, well then I'll draft Kraft for you guys. All of that just to not actually draft Luke Musgrave. Ooh, I like Jermaine Burton available right here. But I don't know if he's gonna last. So I'm basically right here, like I'm just taking the best available running back wide receiver because we're obviously not going to get Musgrave. And we'll just figure out tight end later. Like that is one flaw I have, admittedly, in best ball drafting is I just never have like a super solid tight end. I talked about earlier not really liking drafting tight ends early, but there's just one thing with best ball that my tight end room is like always subpar, which I'm okay with. Like I had some late advancements last year with not great tight ends, like Sam Laporta. I mean, obviously a great tight end, but low rated tight end, I guess I should say. I give me Jermaine Burton, and that might be my last wide receiver. Like Cole Kmet, Sam Laporta, guys like that help me advance. And then there's probably like Evan Ingram, David Njoku, that kind of range. I got 7 wide receivers, which is usually where I like to be at. So I need to get some running back depth and some tight end depth. How many more picks do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got plenty we can do here. But yeah, I just need to go best available running back. And they're all gross. I might take Ben Sinnott, actually. Because right now, running back, it's like, I just don't think it's going to matter. I just don't. Then when do I have to draft Tucker Kraft? His ADP is 207. So we'll come back to him. But I'm drafting Tucker Kraft for you guys. And in honor of the Packers offense. Jawan Johnson's kind of interesting. Tyler Conklin, Chicken Conquo. Tavian Sanders kind of interesting in these later ranges too. But other than that, not much. Oh, I'm on the clock. All right, let's go with Ben because we're already punting tight end anyways. We might as well get some depth. Isaiah Likely, like he's not awful here either. I'm just not really an Isaiah Likely guy. Hunter Henry, such a steal. What's up, cats? I'm just scarred by Hunter Henry because Hunter Henry was a guy that I drafted a ton of, like 2 years ago for sure. And I'm trying to remember. I don't think I drafted too much from last year because I was scarred from the year before. I have. It's just one of those things, like when you have drafted a guy who's disappointed you so much, you just never go back to them. Hunter Henry is one of those guys for me. So um, I don't know if I'm quite there. Oh, Isaiah Likely. Well, yeah, sorry, that's kind of what I meant. Let's see where he went tonight. Yeah, 12.5. So shortly after Fryermuth. But yeah, once again, I'm just like not Isaiah Likely's just not a guy that I've ever had a lot of shares of. All right, so let's give you guys. Oops, sorry, I must exited out everything. Here's a quick look at the team. We got Jordan Love with Romeo Dobbs. We were really trying to get Luke Musgrave added on there. We didn't. We got Kirk Cousins with Drake London. Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift. So we need some help at running back. Puka Nakua, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Rasheed Rice, Romeo Dobbs, Jermaine Burton. So I do feel good at wide receiver, which is something I like to come out of drafts feeling good about. And I don't feel bad about running back or quarterback necessarily. Tight end is where we're taking our dart throw. So, and we still have 4 more draft selections. So see, like, based on ADP, Gibson and Chuba were going a little bit later. Those are guys that I actually like at this range. So don't always listen to ADP. Oh, I got you, Cameron. My bad. Yeah, I guess he did go a bit early. I wonder if that team. No, I don't know why they drafted him. No idea. I also don't know why the team who drafted Luke Musgrave had to take my guy, but oh well. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be tempted to not like I love drafting wide receivers in this range, even if they never end up doing anything. So I'm gonna be tempted to take wide receivers, but I need to just draft running backs, like even if they suck. So very quickly, let me take a look at quarterbacks. Yeah, there's no quarterback we can take that correlates to anyone on our team other than Geno Smith. um, or I will take Justin Fields as a QB3. Do not at me. I will take him as a QB3. Okay. But yeah, really here we need to go back to back running back. See what happens. So it is gross. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting at running back. I mean, I don't even want to draft another running back. It's so bad. But I have Joe Mixon on this team, so I guess it makes sense to draft Dameon Pierce. It's just like I don't want to. I mean, Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy, Roshan Johnson, Dameon Pierce, Donta Foreman, Keaton Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell, Tank Bigsby, Audric Estime, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Will Shipley, Alexander Madison. It's gross. So give me Dameon Pierce for the handcuff. And then I'll probably take Keaton Mitchell because he's on the Ravens. I mean, who would you guys take? He's injured too, is the thing. I mean, Tyrone Tracy, there's an argument for. Eric Gray's there as well. Devin Singletary. So there's an argument there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire still plays for the Chiefs. Kenneth Gainwell is kind of interesting because, I mean, you guys are going to make fun of me because I drafted a lot of Kenneth Gainwell last year, but Gainwell is literally the RB2 for Philly. So yeah, I'm in a really weird draft place here because like literally the guys I have queued up are ADP 204, 207, 215. I have draft picks 183, 202, and 207. So I'm literally just going to draft the three guys I have queued up because I think I can draft all of them. Tucker Kraft is the one guy who I might miss out on, but I think I can snag him. So I'm literally going to draft Justin Fields. So somebody is probably going to unsubscribe right after that draft selection. But um, if he does get starts, he correlates to Pat Fryermuth. So running back is really the tight end still kind of an issue, but I don't know. I'm okay with this squad. Go Steelers! Put in a 5 tick in Vegas for them to win the Super Bowl. As long as it's just 5. Think Pierce will get some touchdowns. I like Tracy too. Yeah, Tracy probably not a bad option. He's still available, so gonna be Bears versus Texans. Yeah, I mean, just imagine like last offseason, like there had to be people who put in tickets for like literally like you could bet like the exact team to beat the exact team and like Chiefs beating the Niners or even vice versa. Like if you just bet the Chiefs and the Niners go to the Super Bowl, like there's nothing outlandish at all about that. So I think this year won't be as straight up, but you never know. All right, well, this has been an interesting draft, but I like this team. I think we've actually pieced together an okay team. Chat, let me know what you guys think. Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields. Some of you guys are going to really hate this running back room, and I can't really blame you. But Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Damian Pierce, Puka, Drake London, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Rasheed Rice, Romeo Dobbs, Jermaine Burton. So we knew what we were getting into at wide receiver. In the 10th round, I went Romeo Dobbs, right? Like maybe we could have gone running back there. It would have honestly, it would have been Gus Edwards or Austin Eckler. Maybe Brian Robinson or Tajay Spears. But the stack with J-Lo, I think, worked out. We didn't go tight end until the 9th, but we were really high on Luke Musgrave, at least I was. But hey, we might get Tucker Kraft. Wide receiver room is stacked, yeah, which is usually important to me. It's like if 2 of these running backs work out for most of the season, well, and we really only have 3 options. I'm not really counting on David Pierce. Then we should be okay. And the question is can our tight ends sustain us, and can our tight ends sustain us through the later rounds of the tournament? Like the running backs, I feel like you have good end zone running backs who will fall into the end zone. Maybe could use a long shot running back, someone to take a risk on. Yeah. That's the idea, right? Is get running backs who will score tutties. And I kind of want to go Kenneth Gainwell as my final selection because love Saquon Barkley, but Barkley traditionally misses some time. And if he misses any time right now, Kenneth Gainwell is the next guy up. Outside of that, I guess Will Shipley's there, but I trust Kenneth Gainwell more. Yeah, and then Cameron, as soon as I say that, yeah. So I could just draft both, but then I won't get Tucker Kraft, and there goes Will Shipley. So plan ruined. But really, if you're going to take 2 dart throws at the end of your draft, like Shipley and Gainwell are as cheap as they come, around 17 and 18. Oh no, Tucker Kraft is gone. Big Matty G, isn't he? No, he didn't draft Musgrave. I was going to say, I'm going to find you. All right, well, I ruined that. I kind of like Jatavion Sanders at this range. So. See, whenever I draft an underdog draft live, I just always get sniped. Well, I really like Demarcus Robinson in this range. I think he's a great value, and I didn't even know he was available because I having Stafford and Puka on this team, I would have definitely taken him. All right, we're just gonna have rookie tight ends. Okay, both you guys like Dylan Laub. Is he available? All right, I'll draft him for you guys. Madison's trash and Zamir's first year starter. Not sure what he will be. All right, I'll do it for you guys. I'll draft him over Kenneth Gainwell for you guys. We got 2 rookie tight ends and Pat Freiermuth. I don't feel great about that. But I do think Ben Sinnott and Jatavion Sanders are in very good spots. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much. And now, will I be able to draft your guys' running back or not? And if not, I'll just draft Kenneth Gainwell. The suspension is building. Greg Dulcich. I like Sanders. I can see Carolina turning things around. Yeah, I really like Sanders as well. Jatavion Sanders, not Miles Sanders. But yeah, Jatavion Sanders like a guy that I really liked in rookie drafts for Dynasty, and doesn't really have a multitude of competition for targets like Deontay Johnson, sure. Adam Thielen, maybe. But ultimately, I think Sanders, basically the tight end 3 coming out of this draft, maybe for some people, tight end 2. So I feel good about him. Yeah. So the 1.12 team basically punted tight end until the 11th round and then just loaded up right here. So Komet and then Fant, Dulcich, and Gesicki, 3 quarterbacks as well after going Josh Allen early. Only 4 running backs behind Barkley and JT. So as long as he doesn't sabotage the draft, I don't really care. All right, guys. So great stream tonight. I think I'm just going to run 1 for the night. Thought about doing 2, but it's late. So I'll run another one tomorrow night because I want to start stacking up these entries for sure. But I felt like this was a good get the rust off draft. And we did some good things, did some questionable things, but that's usually how these drafts turn out. So I prefer having Hawk or Bowers as my second tight end. Better than Freiermuth. I think wide receiver value late is better this year than last. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of names that I was seeing going late after I went so aggressive at wide receiver early. But, like we got Dobbs in the 10th. I love that. I actually like Gabe Davis right now, believe it or not. I like Dotson and Cooks in the 12th. I think that the 13th round has a lot of good value. Jalen Polk, Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Jermaine Burton, just looking at rookies alone. Tavion Wicks, Quentin Johnston could be the wide receiver 1 for the Chargers, but probably be Ladd, right? But he has some opportunity there. Malachi Corkley in the 14th, Michael Wilson in the 15th, Troy Franklin in the 15th. I still kind of like Wendell Robinson in the 15th. I think he'll play better as a wide receiver 2. Then you got all kinds of names here. Zay Jones, DJ Chark, DeMar Douglas. I like Douglas, actually. But I really do like DeMarcus Robinson in the 17th. And I'm not even against Odell Beckham in the 18th. So call me crazy. Jerry Jeudy in the 12th, another guy like I'm not necessarily out on based on his ADP. So, okay, I got signed out. Jeez. 1 entry. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Thank you guys for drafting with me. Thank you guys for talking fantasy with me. Once again, I hope you guys all had a great Memorial Day. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to check out the links down below. Follow us on Instagram. We are now on TikTok. Make sure to join the Discord, though. Discord is completely free. Best place to get community updates as well as our mock draft invites and all of that good stuff. So I appreciate you guys. Hope everyone had a great holiday. And I'm planning on being back on tomorrow. So hopefully I'm here for another Underdog draft. Sea Slave, solid hanging out. And yeah, hope you get to hop into one as well with me. And yeah, didn't have anyone from the community hop in with me tonight, but probably because it's a holiday. So I'm sure most of you guys will be around in the coming weeks. But I will talk to you guys soon. And with that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And